All right, folks. Hey, and welcome back. I know lunch was fast and furious, but at SANS, as like we like to say, when you're taking SANS training, you're visiting a SANS event, it's like drinking from a fire hose, and that fire hose shall continue. And now we're going to continue the theme of how can you effectively remotely and virtually engage your workforce. Oh, and by the way, you have almost no budget, no resources, and whatever you do, you've got to do it at home. Sounds like most of us? Well, we're going to finish off the day with a bang. Many of you have been asking, how can we create our own fun, engaging security awareness videos, but with no budget, no training? Kerry is an expert and well-known and well-recognized in our community at doing just that. And she's going to show you how to do this with nothing more than your iPhone and a couple of little toys, maybe in your kid's room. So don't want to take up any more time. Kerry, it's all yours.
Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here because I love making videos. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I really want to share that with you guys so you can make your own videos. I can't squeeze it all into one presentation. So we're going to have to show you the basics and then have you go forth. And what I don't see is my title slide. So I'm hoping to see that. There we go. All right, so this is how to make your own stop action awareness videos at home with your phone on a tight budget. Let's go to the next slide and take a look. See what we see.
You should be able to advance the slides. Kerry, let me know if you have any issue there.
Okay.
You just click into the window.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is me. I worked for 30 years in broadcast news and TV news for most of that time, often as an investigative reporter, winning multiple Emmy Awards and regional awards and national awards and all kinds of awards. And then about 5 years ago, I retired from cybersecurity and I moved, or excuse me, from TV news, and I moved into cybersecurity news with the goal of translating what's happening in the world of cybersecurity for the non-technical person, what you might call the general public, the so-called average person, not that anyone is average, but someone who's not super technical and already knows what's going on. And in that process, last August, I got my SANS SSAP. So I was able to add that to my repertoire and help people even more with free videos, free content that inform and keep people advised of what's happening. So back then, that's a picture of me when I worked in TV news. I'm the one on the right in the red, about 20 plus years ago. And back then, you see the camera guy, stuff happened and we had a news camera and we went out and we shot video of it. I did a lot of undercover work, as I mentioned, so I had a lot of hidden cameras, but something was happening and we took a picture of it. Well, our video sources now are this. It's the inside of the computer. That's what's happening right now. And it's pretty boring for a lot of people. For some people, it's super exciting. For the non-technical person, it might be kind of boring. So what are we going to do about that? Well, this is the solution. Make our own videos. And I'm going to play a little video here. That is me making a stop action video in the lobby of a hotel room in Denmark. It's that portable, it's that easy. You can do it out of a suitcase. You can do it wherever you are. It's very entertaining. We can make it very inexpensive. I will show you how to make it very, very inexpensive. And it's not so hard if someone just shows you what to do. So let's get started on that. We're going to see an example of a video. This is a recent one that I put out. My videos are usually about 3 minutes long, maybe a little shorter, a little longer. So we're not going to see a whole one because we don't have enough time. We're just going to take a look at one of my typical stop action videos.
Squawk, free kittens, squawk.
First, the name, Mini Cats. It means cute cats.
Good kitty.
But it's far more powerful than it sounds.
Bad kitty, squawk.
You can use this program to uncover security holes in your Windows systems. But attackers can also use it to find those holes and take over. Here's how it works. Once the bad guys find their way onto your computer, they run Mimikatz. It can find your password info and pose as you, causing trouble. But there's more. It can do things like create a golden ticket.
Excuse me, pardon me.
A free pass of sorts.
Me first, you last.
Oh!
Allowing the attackers to act as administrator and access everything, every ride on the network.
Give me that. Whee!
So there you go. That's an example of what you can do. With the free apps, we're not going to be able to do the same kind of stuff. We're going to be more limited. You'll have to work into the other stuff later, but we're just going to look at the very basics of how to start. I want to show you really quickly this little video, which is really something I threw together in minutes. It will take you seconds to do this. It is just using sound effects from one of the apps and then a little stop motion video that I did really in just seconds. Let's take a look. Okay, so what you saw there was a little alligator that I had, and I made him move and I added a sound effect. So to get started, you want to look around you, see what you have, and decide, what is my message? What am I going to do? What do I have to support that with the objects around me? Or you can say, what are the objects around me and what can I come away with that? What can I do with it? Let's look at the many options for the media that you can use. You can use toys, you can use paper, you can use clay, candy, people, and many, many, many more things. Dry erase boards, wooden figurines, mix the media. We just were looking at something with knitting. I mean, there are many things you can do, any object. Let's look at this little stop motion studio movie that someone else made with paper so you can see what kind of ideas you can get. This one has no audio. It's just paper on a blue table. And you can even see the hand of the little girl who is making it. She added some text there, and all that is done with paper. So you see how cute that is. You don't have to limit yourself, especially to Legos, because no fish were harmed during filming. Legos are copyrighted, so you can't use them for certain things. There are some legal issues, so you might want to look for some other toys or objects that don't have legal issues. So what are you going to do when you start making your video? You want to research and prepare. You want to be focused. You need to think about, what is your message? You need to write out the main points. For my what is videos, like what is Mimikatz, which is a popular hacker tool, I say, what is it? What does it do? Why do you care? And how do you stay safer? What are some steps you can do? So you get that done. Here's a little video. There we go, just one I made in seconds to show you ideas of some things you can do. You need to consider your storytelling elements. Visually, what are you going to show? Are you going to show the stop action video that you are creating? And we'll take a look at this one here for inspiration. That's Iron Man getting his suit put on and then hacked. You can also do video that you shoot yourself with your own phone, or video that other people shoot on their phones and they can send to you on your phone. You can also use still images, things that you find, and put onto your phone. And you can use graphics. Now, graphics are basically words or slides like this one that is created specifically for your video. And it's not easy to do those on the phones, especially with the limited apps that you have, the free apps that we're going to be talking about. But you do have some options. You can take a picture of something that has words on it and you can send it to your phone. And you can also do some really limited stuff in the apps. So the other storytelling elements that you want to think about are the audio. There's the narration, that's the voice, that's the narrator speaking. There's the dialogue, people having conversation, there's music, and there are sound effects. When it comes to narration, this is really important. You have to find someone to do it, whether that's you or someone else, who is energetic and who is interested in what's going on. The only way it won't work is if you're actually showing a character like Eeyore who is not energetic, and then you can have someone who's not energetic. Not like they have to be freaky energetic, but they can't just sound like they're reading. That will kill your video, that will take the life out of your video. So the easiest thing really to do when you're starting is to use music, and use the music that is in the apps. The sound effects are the next step. You can add those too, but for your very very first video that you're making, think about music and think if you can find a way to do that so you don't have to try to find people. There's the video. Try to find people who sound, it's not that they need to sound professional, but they need to sound energetic and interested in what they're doing. That's not always easy to find. Okay, then you write out your script and your storyboard. Remember to tell a story, be conversational. I see so many videos where you're reading a paragraph that was taken out of some sort of description. What is fishing? Fishing is, but it's you can't do that. Your video will not be fun and interesting. And then remember, when you're writing out your script and storyboard, and we'll take a look at a sample script and storyboard, is what will you show for each sentence? We're going to show a quick video here, a story. Here are the frogs. The alligator eats the Joker, and off floats the Joker's skateboard. It's a little mini story. In a matter of seconds, you told a little story. You had a beginning, middle, and end. You saw the Joker there, and then he got eaten and his skateboard floated away. So here's a sample storyboard. What you're going to do, you see your script, narrator. This was no ordinary email. This was an important email from the boss. Dramatic music. Dun, dun, dun. In your storyboard, you write down what you're going to do for each shot. Show a wide shot of a person at a computer keyboard. For this was no ordinary email. Show a close-up of the email. This was an important email from the boss. And then show a close-up of the person's face. Dun, 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 dramatic music. You need to do that because when you're shooting your little video, your little movie inside your app, you're going to get lost and forget what you're doing. You want to have your storyboard at the ready so you can go, what do I do next? And you'll have it all ready to go. And remember to use a variety of shots for that. So what you need, here are the free phone apps that you can use to do this. I use Stop Motion Studio. I started with Stop Motion Studio and I still use Stop Motion Studio. It's limited. You can also upgrade later on. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but it does the shooting. It helps you with the shooting. When it comes to editing, Stop Motion Studio, the free version, is not good enough to really do what you want. So you'll use another free app. For iOS, use iMovie. And then we're going to look at what you can use for Android. If it will click to the next slide. There we go. iMovie alternatives for Android. I haven't used these, but these are recommended: Video Show and Viva Video. And they should allow you to do the same kind of limited editing that you get in the free iMovie app. It's not going to be everything you want, but it will get you started and take you a long way. So what do you need? You need a tripod to hold the phone steady. It is just about the most important thing. You need a head for it. So if you go online to buy a little tripod and you don't get the phone holder head, you will be very sad and you'll have to make your own. The picture here is a Joby, which is a very popular version. These little ones, this one was about $25. They are not sturdy. Do not give them to your kids to play with, even if they beg, because I gave it to my 11-year-old and it promptly broke. You will really want to dedicate it to just your little videos. You can also make your own, and we're going to look at some of those. DIY tripods. You can use something as simple as a paper coffee cup that will get bendy. You really won't be able to use that for very long, but maybe you have a big stack of coffee cups that you want to use, because when you change shots, go from a wide to a tighter shot, you can move the camera. You also see one made of a little gift card there in the middle, hopefully a gift card where all the funds have been spent. And also a very clever one made out of binder clips. And there are more. This is my favorite personally. On the left, the milk jug camera, sturdier, and it has a handle. And then you see here this DIY vitamin bottle, which I think you probably need a hacksaw to make, but you're at home and you've got plenty of time and you probably have some tools in the garage. So go for it. The whole thing is you have to keep it steady during the scene you are shooting, or it will look weird and the magic of your stop action will be ruined. And who wants to do that? Make sure you hold it steady and do not jostle the camera. What else do you need? A table. Put it against a wall or curtain so you don't have things moving in the background, because if anything moves, it ruins the magic. What you see here, this picture, is a shot of a different hotel in Denmark for a different trip that I was there. And you'll see that the desk has a glass surface and it's too shiny, it's too reflective. So I looked in the closet and I got an ironing board, which is not ideal because hotel ironing boards are not very steady. but it served the purpose. And I put it against the curtain. You see my tripod there. And I was able to shoot an entire video about going into space with that particular setup. You also want some sticky tape or some play clay to hold things in place. You will find that things jostle and fall down very easily, especially if you have kids, if you have dogs or cats, if your fingers are shaky, everything falls down. Use something to stick it in place. Clay is actually some sort of clay or Play-Doh or something is actually the easiest way to do it. Okay, what else do you need? I'm going to play this video of me because it shows the light in the background. This is the first hotel in Denmark. There we go. And it's a really short video. And I just wanted you to see that that light is basically a desk light suspended over this table in the lobby of the hotel. And that's really all you need. You need some sort of desk lamp. If you have the lamp with the flexible arm, it is very handy. You can move it all around so you don't have shadows. You can also just drag lamps over, take the shade off, and have as much light as possible. Fluorescent lights can cause problems, but most people don't have fluorescent lights in their home. For me, when I'm here in the studio, I turn off the fluorescent lights often and just use my bright lights. Really, any kind of light will do. You don't need to buy anything special. Watch for shadows. You want to make sure that the light is between the camera and your objects, because if it is behind you and behind the camera, when you move around, even a slight body movement can change the light, and that will look very strange if all of a sudden you have shadows fall over the face of your, say, your little toy person, unless you want a shadow to fall over to create drama. And also, do not put your table near a window. It seems great, I can use the window light for this, but outside light changes, and there clouds go over the sun, and people walk by and things move. And what you find is that, say you're shooting a scene and it takes you 2 hours ultimately to shoot your little movie, the light can change during that time and will make a difference. And when you're first starting out, it doesn't really matter. But as you grow to do this, you'll say, hey, that's not what I want. Okay, so you are ready then to start to shoot. You've downloaded your apps. You really want to play with the app first, because you don't want to start shooting and then realize you don't know what to do. Why? Because you don't want to move the phone around. So you don't want to start a scene and then say, well, I don't know how to focus. I don't know how to do the timer. I don't know how to check my shot. Play with that first by making a silly little movie where you take a paper clip and move it across the table in front of you. And when you see what you've done, where you've made the paper clip move, you'll just be so excited and you'll be inspired to do something more. This here is a little video I shot of a Lego snake, zombie snake with a mohawk and a walkie-talkie. Ultimately, I made him talk on the walkie-talkie and move all around like a snake. So let's see what we start with. We start with focus, and I drew some arrows to help you. The yellow arrow, starting with that, points to M, which is for the mode of focus. And the green arrow points to the one you want to choose when you're beginning, and that's auto lock. So you just can't screw things up. You put your finger on Mr. Zombie, Snake, Mohawk guy face, and it locks onto that focus. And when you want to change, you change it up. When you get more into it, you can try the other things. For now, just start with that. Next, you're going to go to where the blue arrow shows, and I'm not really sure what that thing is, that little icon, but it stands for timer. And that's the other crucial thing. When I started doing stop action videos, which I did my first one in 7th grade for a school project, we had to take a picture, move the object, take a picture, move the object, and so on until you wanted to fall over. It took extreme dedication to do these videos back in the day so many years ago. Now we have this awesome app. You set the time, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15, 20. What you don't want to do is touch the camera a lot. So you want to set the timer to something comfortable. When you're first starting out, feel free to set it, say, to 30 seconds, although you will find out quickly that that's boring to wait 30 seconds for the next shot. But let's say you set it for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. You get your little figurine there, you set it, it automatically takes a picture, you move it slightly, you sit back and wait for the camera to do the work for you. Thank you very much, app. We love it. And then you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. Wonderful technology. Then when you shoot your scene, you need to check the shot right away. Do not wait. Do not be confident, because no matter how much you do this, something can go terribly wrong. So you want to hit that little arrow and you want to see what you've done and see how it flows. It is very easy to delete bad frames. It is harder to add a frame that doesn't exist because you forgot to shoot something while you were in this little process. So shoot extra. Have fun with it. Add extra. Things can happen. All kinds of things can happen. For example, I was shooting a video and a fly landed on the head of one of my little figurines during the movie. But you're so bent over the camera and focusing on what's going on that you don't notice until afterwards when you check it. And of course, it looked like a hideous monster that was coming to attack my little people who were in a factory trying to protect the factory from cyber attackers. I wish I could have worked it into the storyline, but that fly was not cooperative. He did not come back to participate in other scenes, only in that one scene. Unfortunately, they were crucial frames, so I kind of had to reshoot part of the scene, but that's why you check the shot immediately so you don't go later to edit it all together and say, wow, I'm going to have to somehow write this fly into the shot. Okay, now for editing. So you've shot your little scene, and Stop Motion Studio allows you to do some limited editing. It doesn't do great stuff. It's very limited. That's why we use the other app. But these are things you can do. For example, the yellow arrow shows delete. You can delete that frame with the fly in it, or delete the frame, which will happen all the time, which is your hand going in there because you didn't bring your hand back in time. Or you brought your hand back in time, but there's still a shadow of your hand over Mr. Mohawk guy. So you want to delete those frames. It's actually really fun and easy to delete the frames. Like we said, you can't put frames back in that don't exist, but deleting is easy and fun. You can also repeat frames. That is the green arrow points to how you can repeat frames. So let's say you shoot your stop action and you realize it goes by too fast. So you want to repeat each of the frames so that it smooths out the shot a little bit. Well, you can go in with that little button and do it. And then lastly, the blue arrow shows the microphone. And what that allows you to do is a live narration, or if you want to make your own sound effects, do-do-do-do-do, wah, wah. If you want to do that, add to this video, you can do it live. It's fun, but it's, once again, it's limited and you can do it later in the editing. So I just show you that so you know it's there, and you can play around with it and have fun because it's super fun, but it may not be ultimately what you choose to do. Okay, so now we're going to do editing. And with Stop Motion Studio, we're going to export our little movie there. You see the square at the top. We all recognize that little share button because we use it all the time for all kinds of stuff on our phone. You're going to export your movie, and you're going to export it to iMovie, or if you're using one of the other apps, export it to that app. You can export it to all kinds of things, Dropbox and Google Drive and AirDrop it. But for our purposes, we are going to do some more editing to it. So now we put it into iMovie, and the editing apps tend to all look pretty similar. So you'll kind of feel comfortable when you get to iMovie because you'll say, hey, this looks a lot like the Stop Motion Studio app. So I already feel comfortable. And now you can do many more things with it. So for example, the yellow arrow leads to the plus, and that's where you can add all kinds of things. You can add other video and images from your phone. If someone shoots a video, they can text it to you. You can save it on your phone, and then you can add it into your video. You can add voiceover with that, once again, that live narration, but you can also do things if someone sends you a video of them talking, or if you make a video of yourself talking, you can separate the audio out from that video and you can just put the audio in. So you can put the audio in of, say, a guy on a walkie-talkie, say one of your coworkers wants to participate. Then you can have them do that walkie-talkie, hello, this is Snake Mohawk guy, I'm gonna take over your network. And you can add that in. It does take some playing around. It is not necessarily easy, but as you practice, remember you're going to make that first movie probably just with music or sound effects to get used to it. Then you'll try something like that. You can also add sound effects, and look, it says sound effects and, that's sound effects and music that you can add to this. And with the blue arrow, actually the green arrow that points to the T, you can add a title and some text. It is limited, it's not ideal, but it will definitely get you through. You click that T and it gives you some title options. They're mainly meant for a title of the movie, and many of them will say you can do it on the center of the screen. You can choose a lower option to show it on the lower part of the screen in one of the corners or maybe across the bottom. And you can add some cool text to the screen, whatever you want to add, the tips, or if you want it to be a silent movie with just music, but you want the people to say words, you can add that in too. Limited, but it's free and it'll get you started. Also, you see the blue arrow. With that, you can change the speed of it. So if you want it to be faster or slower. You also see options like adding transitions, like dissolves between shots, which look cool, and fades, where you fade up from black and into black. Stop Motion Studio allows you to do that, but it's not as good. It doesn't look as good as the ones in iMovie. You can also change image tones, make it black and white or sepia for an old time look. I'm going to show you a little bit more closely about adding the title text with that T. Those are the title options. They show you a bunch of title options. Some of them appear on the screen in a cool way and reveal themselves. Some of them have 2 lines and different fonts. So it's super fun. Also, you can take a picture of text or of a graphic, have it sent to your phone, have someone send you something that they made on their computer. They can send it to you, or you can send it to yourself on your phone and save it to your phone. Take a picture of the image on your phone and add that in yourself if you want words on the screen. And then next, we want the slide to change. Does it want to change? And clicking, there we go. Then when you're done, you can export it. You could AirDrop it, Google Drive, Dropbox, all kinds of others. I send mine to the Drive. And from there, you can do whatever you want with it and share it with everybody, because you will be so proud and excited of what you've done. So some tips. Let's take a look at this little movie. Once again, this is one I made in seconds, and I had a friend just make some noises to go along with it. Oh, the audio is really low. He's just saying, because right now this is what's going through your brain. You're going, what can I do? What can I do with this? That's Iron Man contemplating things over his cup of coffee. So you want to be patient. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. Make a really bad movie first. Do that paperclip. Do your coffee cup. Do the dog. Whatever. Just do something silly. When you don't know what you're doing, Google stuff. Have your laptop nearby and Google, how do I? How do I get used to Googling it? You will run into barriers because those apps are very limited, and you'll say, but I want to do this and I don't know how. Get feedback, show your video to someone, and be prepared for them to say, wow, that doesn't work, that doesn't go with there. But when you're learning to edit, you're going to need that kind of feedback sometime, unless you're an Emmy award-winning editor, which I am, but I still need feedback from people, even at this level, after 30 years of video editing. Also, embrace the charm. Remember, it's not going to look like the Lego movie. It's never going to look like the Lego movie. This is just home fun. Enjoy it. There he goes. He's moving around. Okay, if you want to upgrade, here are some options. This is a picture of one of my temporary studios here at my studio in Portland, Oregon. I am very mobile. I can do one of these movies anywhere. Give me a table, I'll drag a light over, got my camera. You can carry these tripods around with you wherever you go and go for it. Those are some fancy studio lights that we use for our actual TV studio here. If you want to get crazier, you can add the Clips app, which is a free app for iPhone. And it allows you to do a lot of posterizing stuff and adding text. So once you get used to these other free apps, and you feel adventurous, try using the Clips app and you can have a lot of fun with it and boost your little movie. You can turn things into paid apps, like Stop Motion Studio has a pro version for $4.99, which I recently upgraded to. I really haven't used it that much, but with that, you can do things like the green screen, which you see listed. You don't need to get fancy with the green screen. To start, I bought a bright green, like neon green pillowcase from someplace like Ross. And I just use that as my background. You don't need to get fancy and buy something professional unless you want to because you're enjoying it. You can also edit on your laptop, which is easier than editing on the phone, but it can be sort of that step up that you may not want to do yet. When you're ready, for Mac, you can use iMovie. For Windows 10, Windows 10 has a Photos app that you can use that it's free and it's limited, and it will get you where you want to go. Also, I've heard that Shotcut and Lightworks for Windows are other options. I haven't used them personally. You can get a better tripod. I bought a $60 Manfrotto portable tripod that I love because it's sturdier than that Joby one, and I still don't let my kids play with it, but it is better. You can also add more and better lights. And one thing I wanted to say is your iPhone microphone is actually pretty good, and you can buy a lot of plug-in mics that sound worse than your iPhone microphone. When you're ready, upgrade to something like I use all the time, which is a Rode lavalier mic. It's about $79, $80. I have a ton of them. They don't last that long if you're using it every single day, which I do, and take it around the world to Latin America, Turkey, Russia, Europe, like I do. But for your purposes, it would last a while. And it does sound better with the Rode, but your iPhone is pretty good. So next steps, just a few things I want to add because we're out of time. Get your tip sheet. I have a cool tip sheet that lists off most of this stuff. Ask me questions if it's not on the tip sheet. Watch examples to get inspired at Archer News Network on YouTube. Those are my free videos that I put out to share with the world to get everybody smarter and safer online. And then try your first movie. And I have to say right now, I am learning to do a roll on a kayak in a very cold river, the Columbia River here in the Portland area. And when you're learning to roll, that's where you start upright in your kayak and you roll all the way around under the water and come back to the other side. You just have to stick your head, your whole face in that cold water until you're upside down. And then when you're learning, you have to stay upside down in the cold water, underwater, until you get your bearings. And then you learn to pop back up. It's going to be the same thing with you trying your first movie and doing all this editing. You're just going to have to stick your head in the cold water, be upside down, not know where anything is, figure it out, do a lot of bad stuff. And then you're going to emerge fresh and wonderful with your first great movie. And I want you to share it with me because I want to see how awesome you did. All right, go make a movie.
That's fantastic, Kerry. I take it you're done?
I'm done.
Okay, we have time for questions, folks. So this is an opportunity to beat up one of the world's experts at stop motion animation. So Jennifer, do we have any questions for our speaker?
I think you have stunned everybody into silence. Half the people on the Slack channel ran off to raid their kids' toy boxes.
Yes.
The other half, like me, are wondering what your vitamin supplement regimen is that you have this kind of patience.
It is very hard, and I am very much not a patient person. I am impatient. I think that's a new word. Capital M, patient. You have to get into the zen of it. I'm probably kind of ADHD, and for me, when I really focus, I can get into it. You end up hunched over the table, moving things ever so slightly, ever so slightly, ever so slightly. It helps to chew gum when you do this because you're going to be really focusing and you'll find yourself clutched in one position. Remember to stretch and move around because you can get back pain. I do recommend that when you do this, you do table height. Do not do it on the ground. You will feel pain. Kids can do this on the ground. Us old people should not do this on the ground. You should do it on a table, and you should do it where you can sit on a chair. You'll find yourself also from time to time getting on your knees to do it. I recommend having a pillow handy to put your knees on, because what happens is you start shooting and you say, I'm going to just go on one knee or two knees and I'm going to shoot. And then you find yourself there a lot longer than you expect. And it hurts.
Well, speaking of how long you will be there, Courtney asks, how long does a 5-minute video take to prep?
Days and days and days and days and days. So the videos that I make generally are around 3 minutes long. And that includes usually an intro and tag from me, an intro and outro from me shot on regular video. So the Lego part, maybe we'll say it's 2 to 2.5 minutes. And shooting that will take me a minimum of 2 days to do, even when I have planned extremely well. Part of that is because I like to tell just about the whole story with stop action. And that means you have to do stop action for everything. And if you want to add in other videos, it's a lot easier. But I would plan for a 5-minute video, I would plan, especially if you're starting out, give a whole week for it. And you will find that you have made errors and you need to reshoot things. Something will be out of focus. Something will be wrong. Give yourself a week. And by the way, that's just the shooting. That's not the editing. Learning the editing, if you're just learning, the editing will take you days. So honestly, I would plan 2 weeks for that if you're just starting out for a 5-minute video.
I'll ask you one last question before we turn it back over to Lance. I know you said something earlier on about Legos and where you can't use Legos. A lot of people were asking about copyright issues with recognizable toys and how you know when you can or you can't.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So you can use copyrighted toys for things like this. What you can't do is use them for PR or marketing or things like that. So for example, with Lego actually has a very easy to access legal section on its website where you can learn about what they allow. So for example, me making these free videos that I am sharing with the world for free to give us all better knowledge of what is happening, that is okay. But if you are going to try to use it in any sort of marketing way, then you're going to get in trouble with Lego. And I would assume that they're pretty voracious about that kind of thing. So it's not that you can't use it, it's that what do you do with that video? Do you do any sort of PR or marketing, or are you really just using it internally to make people smarter and better? And so that's the deal with that. There is one really important thing that I wanted to add to all of this. I didn't know we'd have this much time at the end. I was trying to race through the slides to make sure we get everything. But one thing I wanted to add is you can really get people to participate with you. For example, you're looking for a narrator. You're looking for people to do the conversation, the dialogue. If you feel uncomfortable, no problem. Ask your employees to volunteer. Have a contest and say, we're looking for some people to narrate some cool videos, or we're looking for people to do dialogue in some cool videos, and see who volunteers. And you also want to go for diversity. Just because people are volunteering, there are some people who are hoping you will ask them. They may be more shy. They may not feel like they have a strong voice. Ask them as well. Now, I do have a warning. Some people are microphone shy or camera shy, and they absolutely will not do it. So watch out for that. You don't want to harass people. And you can get people to participate. Just have them shoot it on their phone and text it to you. So this is a great way to get people involved. You can also have your employees do a contest in making their own, say, 15, 20, 30-second cybersecurity awareness stop action video. And that way you will get a ton of them. It will be super fun. They'll be quick to watch. You'll get some good ones. You'll get some bad ones. You'll get to put them all together, and your other employees can really join in the fun and get inspired to do them themselves. What you'll have to do is say, here are the free apps that were recommended. It's going to take some time, but why not have everybody participate in this? And that way, by the way, if your video isn't like you're just not pleased with it because it just doesn't hit the spot like you want, you can say, look, I made a homemade video as an example of a cybersecurity awareness video. You all make your own 20 to 30-second videos, and we'll all share them, and we'll all have a good time together.